Thank you again for joining us for the RWTA Chilled Out series. I'm Marianne Kinsell, Executive Officer at the RWTA. We continue to bring on new members, and today I would like to introduce our newest member, Bruce McFarlane from Energy Action. Hi, Bruce.
Hi, Marianne. It's lovely to talk to you.
And you too. Thank you for joining me today. Let's talk about Energy Action. They provide strategic insights and solutions to help organisations navigate and profit from the energy market. Can you tell me a bit more about that, please?
Yeah, sure. Energy Action's an old established company. It's been around for probably 25 or 26 years. I've been involved for 7 or 8 now. The business focuses on Australian businesses and helping them with energy procurement and with their emissions management and the data that supports that. So it's really about driving down cost and reducing emissions for Australian businesses.
Very good. You mentioned data. How important do you rate data when it comes to energy usage?
Look, data's important. I think what's most important though, is the business outcomes that businesses are trying to achieve, and that'll be twofold or onefold. You probably want to start with cost. Businesses are trying to reduce cost, and then secondly, they may be responding to or trying to reduce their emissions and their carbon footprint. So it's those two things that you start with then, and then it's the attributes of how you achieve that within this energy category. And within the energy category, there would be the two things. There would be the two drivers, which would be your energy contracting strategy. Most companies will have a portfolio of contracts associated with how they buy their energy and responding to how they consume it. And then secondly, how do they manage the data associated with those contracts and their footprint around that consumption, which ultimately then feeds into their reporting for emissions reporting, and secondly into the energy efficiency measures they might implement, or the spend they might make around capital investment in solar battery, for instance, because with RWTA members, that's an obvious thing to be looking at. And how do they optimize those expense versus CapEx decisions? So hang on, there was a lot in that. So it's kind of energy strategy and energy procurement, trying to get an outcome for customers, which is cost-based and emissions-based. How do you influence that? It's through your energy strategy, energy and emission strategy, and with the data that supports that and the reporting that you get out of that. There you go. The very long answer to your very short question.
No, that's good, because I was going to say, how does it underpin, the data, how does it underpin decisions made by those multi-level departments in an organisation? And I think you've pretty much covered that. But
I'll just go over the top.
Groovy. Yeah.
So I'll keep talking though, because I'm excited by it. Terrible thing to be excited by, but we're doing a lot of work with some large corporates at the moment, and the data attributes that go into there are not just half-hourly data for how you're using your energy things. They are the commercial structures for how energy is being purchased and how emissions are being managed as a consequence of that energy purchase. So the data is not just half-hourly data at a meter. It is the contract data, it is the spend data from your invoices, it is the usage data from your metering. And then ultimately, how does that feed into the requirements that you want as a business?
Yeah, that is quite exciting, because it's anything that, energy is such a massive cost for the Australian cold chain. Any way to not just, it's reducing it, let's not kid ourselves that cost isn't a big deal, but it's also being able to justify the decisions that you make and the reasons you make them, and also to do with planning and strategy for your company. Data is pretty much everything, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I really think for the RWTA members, right? They're in a highly competitive environment. Cost out will be one of the simplest ways for them to generate positive cash flow, and the way to do, as well as to create a compelling and differentiated product for the people that they sell to, right? So they'll be having those pressures around low emissions or zero emissions type delivery of service. So having that kind of thought process of how do I manage this category, the energy category, as a portfolio of contracts that have both OPEX and CapEx decision making in it, as well as what's my strategic objective with this, is a really interesting way to think about the category for me.
Yeah, yes, as you say, the things that we get excited about are the within our companies sometimes sound perhaps a little dry, but quite frankly, they're pretty darn cool.
Can I help you with can I help you with plumbing? Not really, but with this category, I really can.
Bruce, it was lovely speaking with you today, and thank you for being part of the RWTA and especially our today's Chilled Out series.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk to you members via this method. Thank you.
We will talk again. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
And that's